Hello sleepers and gyppies fresh from the north. In today's video we'll create a black looking blob looking tree. I said looking twice.
I am the one you cannot copy. I am hot like Abu Dhabi. You better run before I see you. Gin up in my cup and my girl drinks margarita.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is James here from GRIFFINGFX. Shout out to Jesse for the intro. Hit me up if you want to do my next intro. I'll just give you a bit of text to say and you can read it. I don't know why, I find it hard doing my own intros, and I find it funny when other people read out like the weird things that I've told them to say. So message me if you want to do that. Anyway, what we're doing today is drawing a little black blob creature. Now, I was on Pinterest. I'm going to open it up now. I was on Pinterest and I ran into this guy here. He had some really cool illustrations. I think he did them on Illustrator, but we're going to be doing them on Photoshop. And they're quite simple. I liked the way how dark it was. The background was dark, they were dark, and it created like a really dark vibe, which meant the white popped out. Just little eyeballs, like a slight glow around them as well. They really popped out and I liked them. And the little like shine of light around the sides of each character. So I'm going to be doing a tutorial now, and I'll be making one with you guys in real time on how to do something like this. So some really cool. I love the scorpion. And he's got loads of them. He's got little, these as well, like environments in the same style. His name's Juan Casini. You can check him out on Behance. Links are in the description. But anyway, on this video, we're actually going to be making it. So, first thing that I like to do is I like to use my computer's, like my monitor's resolution, but I double it. Couldn't think of the word for my monitor then. So you can just quickly go on like a calculator or do it in your head and just work out what exactly double your resolution is. I like to work on that scale, especially when I'm doing a YouTube video, because if I'm sizing it back down and want to put it in my editing program, I want it to fit, but I also want it to be high quality, so I double it up. And then I'm just going to clear out my desk space. For some reason I started the video with loads of stuff on my desk. Right, so we're going to start by coming up with the shape of the character. So to do this, I'm going to find like a sketch brush. I use Sephiroth's brushes. I support him on Patreon, and as a result I got his brushes. I think you can get them for free. I think he's put some of his brushes on Gumroad for free, and you can get them on there, but he's got some cool brushes, so I recommend checking that out. Once again, links in the description. But this is a really nice brush for like sketching stuff out. So I'm going to be doing a little worm creature, I reckon. So it's firstly just sort of having a little feel for the kind of shape that it's going to be. I reckon his head should be sort of popping up a little bit, and then I like how they're like completely flat on the floor, so maybe it'll be like that. By the way, I'm also like struggling because I have my drawing pad, my keyboard on the desk in front of me, and I need to fit my microphone somewhere on there as well. So I find like when I'm really into it and I'm painting, I lean away from the mic and it gets a bit quieter, so I apologise for that. So maybe something like that. I want to have one of the tentacles somewhere, so maybe that could be like a tail. So if it came to like a bit of a point, you could have like a little bit flicking off as like a tail. Eyes could be there. Or maybe you could just have like a little weird haircut, like two bits coming out like that. You could also have little feet. I'm just trying to think of like concepting at the moment, ways to make him more interesting. Something like that. Maybe it's a tongue that I'll do. I'm going to remind myself on his... See where he put his little tentacle things. So this is his page with like all the sketches he does. He's a really cool artist. Definitely check him out. Alright, I'm going to shoot to the top. So some of them go in front and some of them go from behind. Oh, I like that, how it like wraps around, makes it look a little bit 3D. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe it'll be like there. That's quite cool. I could have another one there. Alright, I'm happy with that concept. I'm just going to sort out how I want the tail. Alright, let's go for that. So I'm going to lower the opacity and make it really large. That's Control T, and then hold Shift and Alt whilst you resize it. Or don't have to hold Alt, but hold Shift so it doesn't lose its shape. And now I'm going to create some circles just so we can keep the width of the character throughout. Like that. one up there. We'll work out the line of where his body ends, where his feet will end. This bit starts getting smaller. We'll go up to his head. That's what the front of his face will look like, and then we'll just fill in like a couple middle points like that. It's just to work out the width. Then he's getting a bit smaller. Alright, that'll be the worm. And then we'll use that, merge all of those, rasterize that, and lower the opacity. And use that as a little guide when doing the pen tool action. Or not pen tool, the brush tool. So I'm literally just following these little circular shapes along at the moment. I had to turn the grid off so that I could do that without it trying to like auto correct me. Definitely need to find a place to put this microphone, because I'm having to lean over to do this and it's making my brush strokes a little bit weird. Making excuses, aren't I? Right. Something like that. Lift it up here. I actually had an interesting encounter with a worm recently, which is why I decided to go for this worm. I was in my garden doing a little bit of gardening. I find gardening like really refreshing. Like it's such a relaxing thing to do, just to like be out doing stuff with plants. I don't know. I like ASMR. I guess it's in a way linked, like little peaceful things that keep you happy. I don't know, but I was doing a bit of gardening, and a little worm came out of like a flower bed, and I was trying to guide him to like get him back in. And I hate picking things up. I can't pick spiders up, can't pick worms up. Not that I'm scared of them, but the way that they are in your hands, like I know that either I'll hurt it or I'm gonna drop it, and it's just an awkward thing to pick up. So I was trying to guide it by like blocking it. I know they don't have eyes or anything, but I was like, right, if I put my hand in front of it, it's going to turn around. And to be fair, it didn't. It was a really big worm, and it was really fast as well. So the worm starts like pacing it in the other direction, like full speed. And I've never seen a worm go this fast. And then it started going off topic again, like in a different direction. So I did it again. I put my hand out again to try and nudge it back into a different direction. And I'm fairly sure I gave the worm a heart attack. Like, it just stopped and completely, like, died, I think. I came back, like, 10 minutes later when I was doing the watering, like, watering the plants, and I sprayed a bit of water on it to try and, like, wake it up, you know. Maybe it was dehydrated. Just didn't really work. Pretty sure I gave a worm a heart attack, so that felt pretty shit, you know. Just trying to look out for the little fella. Right, got the little eyes on it. And then it will have some kind of little like headphone things like that. I'm trying to just get the nice flick. It's got to feel natural. Alright, there you go. So I'm happy with this shape. Hope you guys appreciate my little worm story there. So yeah, that's all me just using a little sketch brush and a drawing tablet and just going around the shapes we've already got. This is still a rough copy. And now I'm merging everything that we've got so far together and lowering the opacity of everything. I'm just going to double check I'm recording. There's been so many times recently where I've started doing that and then realised I'm not actually recording. Right, so now we're going to be using the pen tool located on one of the tools down the side. And I'm just going to select a couple locations and start going around the outside. I'm going to start by doing just the body. Don't want to get things too complicated. I'll be interrupting the flow of each movement if I start doing the feet at this point in time. So like that, I'm going to pull this quite far so that it sort of tries to elastic band around like that. Get his little tail done. I'm trying to stick to, I can see the circles underneath, I'm trying to stick quite closely to them. And I reckon we want to keep that like pretty much. Oh, that looks really cool, the way that's come together. It's giving him a bit of a chin almost, I like that. So I'm going to select all of that, make a new layer on top and paste it in, paste the shape in. Now do the little feet on a separate layer. Don't know why the worm's got feet, to be honest. I just saw one of his characters and they were slightly risen off the ground with little feet and it looks really cool. I'm bringing these back, no I'm not. I'm going to make my own new one. Move it up slightly like that. Don't know if you can hear my cats in the background. One of the cats is on the chair next to me and they like fight for the position. So one of them will jump on and annoy the other one so he gets off. And the same thing keeps happening. And they make little noises with their mouths like when they're coming close. Or when they want the chair back. Right, paste that in. We could probably just use the same feet back here. We'll see how that looks. Yeah, maybe not then. The shape's a bit off. Like that. Connect that to there. I hate how much it tries to lock itself. It's like, I'm just using it as a guideline. I know you can turn that off, but sometimes it's useful when you're doing shapes. But when you're doing something like this, it's like, no, stop. Right. There you go. And we'll do the same over here. Pull it in. Go like that. Put it up. And paste that in. That's both feet done. Looks really weird. And I'm going to choose eye positioning. So I'm just literally using circles for this and we'll make it white. I reckon perfect circles probably. I'm going to double check that. I'm going to go look at his. So if they're warping around the side of the face, they're like a bit thinner. So maybe we'll do that. The hedgehog looks really cool. Maybe we'll do that. We'll have one like right on the edge. So we're going to warp it accordingly. Oh no, the cat's jumped back up. Prepare for a little scrap up. Alright, there you go. And then I'm guessing it'd be like here probably for another one. Looks quite cool. I don't really know. It's my first time doing this, by the way. I had a very quick test run yesterday to do one of these creatures. When I first saw it, I was like, that's cool. And also doing this, by the way, finding something on Pinterest and then teaching it back to you gave me an idea, because there's loads of Pinterest tutorials out there, but a lot of them sort of have Chinese writing down the side and they're only done in like stages, no video or anything. And I was thinking, because it's some of the areas that they've done the tutorials in, I'm quite confident already, and I could follow their tutorial, but sort of do it like in real time on YouTube. I'd obviously credit them, because it's not my tutorial, but I'm just trying to make their tutorial easier to follow for you guys. So that's something that might be coming quite soon. Right, I'm going to make a background layer, and it will be black, but for now it's going to be grey, so that I can still see what's going on, because it'll always be black on black. And I'm going to do this white thing up here. So I'm going to go on the top layer for that, select white, and then just follow this band around as it is. Wait, I'm going to quickly check. No, not a good time to get on my lap. So I'm talking to my cat. Right, the width of those are quite consistent. They're not perfect, they go in and out a little bit, so I will make it a bit like that. Right, and then it just goes behind his head. Something like that, and then like that. That works. Oh wait, how does it connect at the front? Oh, it's just like a little blob. I forgot I needed to actually make it connect here. Just gonna have it sort of like that. Make that white, make sure it's a new layer, yeah. That actually looks quite cool. I'm gonna bring it in a little bit, bring it down. Like that. Make that more sort of curved off, because I'm imagining from that angle you wouldn't be able to see much of like the stem bit coming out of his head. You know, this is a completely fictional creature. I'm trying to think logistically. So now we just follow the shape of his head and use that to cut this out. So I'm making a selection here and I'm on the white layer and I'm just deleting from it. So now he sort of looks like that. This is a bit lumpy, it's annoying me, so I'm going to clean that up. Delete that, and then we'll do another one over here on a separate layer. Make this one come up a little bit higher, why not? There you go, like that again. Fill it in, and then do that outward selection thing from this, like so, and delete again just like before. Right, so we've got those two little bits in. What about a mouth? Do they have any kind of mouth? So these ones are really quite illustrated. We're actually going for quite a different style to that. I'm going for the ones that I originally found on Pinterest that look like this. Wait. Oh no, it wasn't these ones, it was these ones. So the little bug creatures, keeping it really simple. Like these ones up top, I guess. Just the eyeballs and a little squiggle. Alright, so there you've got that. Now I'm going to start changing the background. Wait, I'm going to see what their legs look like quickly. Okay. So I'm going to change the background to get the lighting a bit more fitting. So I'm going to paste it in completely black. And I'm going to find the middle of this document by pulling the grids down, and then they'll snap when they're perfectly in the middle. So you do Control R to get the rulers up, and then you pull them across and they'll lock in place like that. You'll feel it. Like, it's hard when you're watching me to see what's going on, but you can feel the tug with your mouse. And then you press Control H just to like hide them if you don't want them there. And then I'm going to select a lighter grey, so maybe a grey like that. We'll see how that looks for now. I'm going to pull it out from the middle. Make sure your secondary colour is black, so it's fading from grey to black. I'm going to pull it out, and it'll look something like that. On the wrong layer though. Something like that. That will need to be a lot bigger, won't it? I wonder if it just came up, if that would look quite cool. Right, so we'll get like something like that for now. I'm going to get rid of the sketch. There you go. And then we're going to put a bit of shine onto his eye, because I noticed they've got that. So how we're going to do that is I'm just going to use a very blurry brush. So this one looks cool, soft round pressure, but you can use one of the default Photoshop ones if you go to the top and just choose like soft. I'll use that for the sake of this, right? Soft, and then go like that. Oh no, it should be in the colour white, and make sure you're in a new layer. So tap it once, and a slightly smaller glow there, maybe poking out a little bit like that. And then just lower the opacity. And then I'm going to do the same on these headband bits. So I'm not going to use my drawing tablet for this, otherwise it will try and put like mouse pressure on it and it won't suit this style. I'm just going to do like a clean, oh, it should be on a new layer. Do a clean drag around. There you go, same up here. Alright, now I'm just going to like rub out from that side, because it's sort of going behind his head a little bit. Same there. And then lower the opacity of that quite a lot as well. See how theirs look in comparison. So theirs is a much closer glow. So I'll turn it up, but I'll blur it more using the Gaussian, don't know how you pronounce that, blur. Just like that. And now we're going to start doing the actual shading on the character to bring it to life a little bit more. So I'm referring back to this. So the very left side of each of their bodies has a slight thin white line of light to sort of suggest that light's hitting it from behind or from the side. And then they're very dark, but with little bits of light in the middle of their body. So on a big worm, actually, I'm not sure how I'll do it. Can I get reference to any of his other ones? Oh, he's done white ones as well. They're quite cool. if you like this episode, how about this, right? If this video gets 100 likes, we'll do some little white creatures as well. But 100 likes is a lot. Unless it gets thousands of views, it probably won't be doing that. Anyway. Worms. Nah, he hasn't done any worms. I'm just going to sort of freestyle it a little bit. But we're going to be on this layer. Select his legs. Oh, nah, we won't. We'll do them separately. So I'm going to be on this layer. I'm going to go one layer above and then create a clipping mask. And then going to stay on this big brush here, this blurry one. I'm going to lower the lighting so it's about that colour there. It's about the colour of the background. Just like that. Just for now anyway. And now we're going to be selecting where I think the highlights should be. So if you've gone for quite a small creature like his, and this was the body area, it would just be something like that. Or if it's there, like that. But because ours is quite large, oh, I don't like how his legs are in front, moving them behind. Because ours is quite large, I'm going to bring it around a little bit. So he's going to have some on his head, for sure. And then this area here, a slight rubbage. That area there as well, where the light is. And maybe just a bit up here on his tail, like that. And then the rest of him is going to be quite dark. I'm even going to lower the opacity on that. Now we're going to do the light side of his body, which is probably coming up to being the last thing. So we're going to stay on the same layer, same clipping mask, but just do like the same thing above that. And now I'm just literally going to start going around the outside like that. So I'm actually not touching his face. I'm just missing it on purpose. And it's just sort of leaving the shadow in on the inside of him. So I hope I'm explaining that. So this layer here, this big black worm, I've gone one layer above, I've created a clipping mask, and that means that anything I draw outside of his body, you can't see. It's only when it goes onto him that you can see it. And then I'm just going around the outside like that, and it's just leaving that thin sort of marking from underneath. So that's what you should be doing as well. And then underneath him there might be like a little bit there, not much because he's facing down, but up here there's definitely going to be a bit of light hitting him. And I'm going to do some light just around there where the ribbon is, because that makes sense to me. And up here on the tail. Like that. So I think where that looks the coolest is over here, where he's got the little bit of light coming off his eyeball and then it's hitting sort of around there. I think that looks really quite cool. And now I'm going to do a clipping mask on his leg layer. I'm going to keep his legs completely black because they're sort of hidden underneath of his body. And his body's already quite dark, but they're going to have a little bit of light hitting them, like so. Just a reminder that the light's coming from the left, even down there, it would still be there. Like that. So there you have it pretty much. The way he's presented his is very cool when there's lots together. Oh, we need to do the shadow. But yeah, when there's loads of them together, it's always going to look a bit better because straight away you've got the repetition and you appreciate the style a lot more than just one of them by themselves. And then yeah, he's presented it with a dark sort of poster style thing, the shadow underneath and then the grey background. But yeah, we're going to put the shadow on this now. This is the moment of truth because I forgot to actually measure it. Does that line? Yeah, that lines up perfectly. Right, so I'm going to use the ellipsis tool, make the ellipsis tool black. I'm going to go on the very bottom layer, one above the background itself, and make a shape like that. I'm going to stretch that out a little bit further than the legs. Well, actually that might not be. I'm going to check his style of shadow. Yeah, so this comes out a bit on each side. I keep opening Sony Vegas for some reason. You just get to see a bit of my editing in there if you pause it right. Lifting that up. Something like that, and then because it's a worm it might be a bit longer than how they've done theirs, and I'm going to spread them out a bit like that, and then I'm just going to literally filter and gaze on blur again, gauge on maybe, like that, and then literally just lower the opacity. Maybe in fact I'll even use a rubber and do one big sort of stamp there. It's like where it'll be at its least strong. Oh, I don't know why that's so. Right, I'm going to do it from down below, like that, just to suggest it's a little bit weaker in the middle. And then yeah, I've lowered the opacity of the shadow to about 50%. So there you have it. There's the creature. I'm going to make this background here black so that it looks a little bit cooler. There's the creature. We've made a little worm. You could put some cool text on it. It'd be a really cool wallpaper actually. It's just a little bit of fun. I don't know how useful it will be doing these tutorials. I think I'm going to do more of them because you guys like it. It's a fun way to learn Photoshop. You're actually making something instead of just being like, this is how you use layers, this is how you use the pen tool. You're learning how to use them, but to make an actual product that you can sort of show someone afterwards and be like, look what I made on Photoshop. So it's quite fun. It's creative because you won't be copying me exactly. Like you could have made a worm, but you can make any creature. And I hope that that sort of thing has helped. Definitely check out, gonna have to remind myself of his name, I apologise, Juan Casini. He's done lots of other cool work. And let me know if you like the idea of me going on Pinterest to find other people's tutorials and walking you through how to make them with more detail, like turning it into an actual video instead of just some small steps. But anyway guys, that is this video done. Hope to see you in my next video. If you're new around here, definitely subscribe for lots of graphic design, concept art, tutorials, giveaways, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you subscribe. Liking each video is very helpful as well. So if you haven't yet, press the little like button. Anyway, that's me out. Hope to see you in the next video, guys. Have a nice day. Peace.
Let me tell you something. Life short, smoke a port, on a port, in New York, calculating like a dork. Kill Bill, track suit, cream shorts.